Welcome to the WTFFF 3D Printing Podcast, Episode 1, all about the what of 3D printing. Today, designers and hosts Tom and Tracy Hazard explain the what behind WTFFF, your resource for fused filament fabrication 3D printing. Hi, I'm Tom. And I'm Tracy. And this is WTFFF 3D Printing Podcast. That stands for what the FFF. Are you going to print? Are you going to buy? Are you going to do with 3D printing? We are all about the what in 3D printing. Exactly. So we are here today to introduce ourselves so you understand who we are and why you might want to listen to our podcast about 3D printing and talk to you about what all the what is. So first off, we're Tom and Tracy Hazard, so we're married. We're married, but we're business partners. We've been living and working together for more than 20 years. And I'm an industrial designer. And I'm a textile designer. And we're both RISD grads. That's around school design for non-RISD people. Right. So that's where we met. And we've been really started working there together and have been working together ever since. And we work out of a home office. So for lots of you that do that, especially a lot of design consultants out there, we design predominantly for consumer retail. So things that you buy at Costco, Walmart, Target. We do a lot of Asia sourcing with our clients and stuff like that. Our goal has always been to bring great design to the masses. But I always really wanted to make something in better colors than the mass market will let you. It frustrates me to no end that we have to design yet another black office chair. Seriously. That frustrates me. So the idea of having color or mass customization of any kind is so appealing to me that that's kind of where you lure me in with 3D printing. Right. I mean, we use 3D printing in our business every day. Well, we don't use it a lot for our clients. We do use it for some clients, but we don't really use it a lot for clients. We use it more for us, more for the kinds of things we're trying to explore, more for doing our own product. And maybe even doing some of our own product lines as we go forward in the future. I mean, that's really kind of was our goal when we first started. I think we didn't realize how difficult that was going to be, or how maybe not quite ready 3D printing was, and how much we needed to relearn in terms of design and everything. So I think that's kind of the focus of what we're going to talk about is that, really kind of focuses on designers and small business owners and those kind of people who want to get into 3D printing because they think it's really going to give them a competitive edge. Is it going to give you, better design services that you can offer your client, or is it going to offer you a very personalized product line that you can, do right there in front of your client or in front of your customer in a store situation? Or is it going to help you speed product development to market, right? And help your design process going through different iterations as you are developing a new design? There are many different ways to use 3D printing. So let's talk a little bit about how we got started in 3D printing. So I was pregnant with our third child. It's Thanksgiving. We're traveling with millions of other people on the busiest week to travel of the year. I'm extremely pregnant, extremely cranky. Oh, you're cranky. And Tom's flipping through the very first issue of Make Magazine's 3D printer review. And so this is 2013. And he's flipping through it saying, we should buy a 3D printer. We should totally do this. And we had just gotten through with a client who skipped us almost at $20,000. So for some work that I killed myself over. And so I was definitely not in the mood for an investment talk. Anyway, so my timing wasn't the best, okay? No. But the magazine was there, and it was good airplane reading. And I started doing my research into modern desktop 3D printing. And talking to your mom about it. And when your mom gets involved with something, because mom's a software engineer and she's fabulous about anything technological. And you kind of, convinced me. But it took some time because I kept thinking, okay, I get that it's good and it's maybe the future, but what are we going to do with it? Right. What are we going to make? And that was the question. And I think that's the most important question you have to ask yourself before you start 3D printing. And I think for us, we ended up diving in, not entirely knowing what we were going to make, but I think we decided we're not going to be able to figure out what we're going to make unless we start doing it. Exactly. So we decided to treat it like a big R&D expense. Let's go in and let's make sure that we're building our skills for our clients. If this is the future, we better know what we're getting into before we get dragged into it. And we like to be ahead of those things. So that's what we decided to do. And I think that was really smart. And I'm really happy with the way that we did that. And I'm happy with the choice that we made. We bought a maker bot first. And I'm glad we did because I think there's a lot of printers out there that are much too high maintenance. Perhaps. I mean, there's a lot of hacking required. I think that there are many printers in the open source realm that you need to become more of a technician in order to operate very well. Now, I think we sort of got lucky in this regard because when all the research I did about the different printers, I didn't really understand that at the time. But I think we got lucky that we bought a MakerBot because I think had we bought a different printer as our first printer, we might have, just turned the other way and said, this is not worth it. And to be honest with you, I had a lot of questions about whether it was worth it in the first few months anyway because I just kept feeling like we weren't getting any good prints out of it in terms of what we wanted to make. And every time we tried to make something, it just didn't come out successful for a while. So I think that that at least we didn't have the problem of the printer not printing what we were asking it to print. It was more of a problem on the design side that we weren't designing what we really wanted it to accomplish. I think that's true. So I know that if you have experience with a lot of different brands of 3D printers, while MakerBot's one of the biggest out there, I think a lot of people sort of are down on the MakerBot because it's very limited in its capabilities. I think it's a great starter, and I didn't realize how great a starter machine it was until after I had moved on to a more technically complicated machine. Then I gained even greater respect for it. And we wanted the more complicated machine because we had a leapfrog creator test, and we wanted it because we wanted to make sure that we could do 2-color, and we wanted to do some more design things. But to be honest with you, we've had that since January. Yeah, we've had that since January, and we're still really not at the stage at which we're experimenting with the design things we want to. We're still learning how to use the printer and getting it successful. I think we're just about
getting very close.
Yeah, but that's 4 months, so the technical learning curve on things is pretty high.
I think with other more open source and printers with more capabilities in the desktop arena, there's a lot more technical knowledge that it takes to be able to achieve more complex designs and colors.
I agree, and absolutely. And I think that's part of the focus of where we want to go with this podcast, is also trying to helping you understand the difference between what those technical things that they're talking about, what that means for the what that means for the product, for the design, for what you want to accomplish, because I think the design language and the technical language don't match right now.
Well, and also what that means for your return on investment as a business. Because it's one thing to buy a 3D printer as a hobbyist and you're just working with it evenings and weekends for fun, and that's great, but that's not really us. And I think that there's a lot of people in small businesses who are in small businesses like us that either want to know how it can help their existing business or maybe how they can start a new business using 3D printing. And so we want to be a resource to help you navigate this very large field.
Yeah, because it's so complicated, and we all know you got a day job. So no one's making money off 3D printing right now that I can find, except for maybe a few printer manufacturers who've been doing it for actually most of the time.
And maybe some service bureaus where people are sending their things to be printed elsewhere.
I still question that. I think that's something that we're going to explore. It's like, let's check out those design service bureaus. Let's see what the best place for you, if you want to sell design files, or you want to sell designs that get output and printed for you, via shapers and materialized. We're going to explore those and we're going to see how they work for us. Did it work? Was it easy? Did we make money? We're going to go through those things and we're going to be really transparent about whether or not those things were right. Now, they may still be right for you, and they aren't for us, but we're going to explore them so that you don't have to.
And we're going to be conducting interviews with people from other businesses, from some of the vendors and suppliers, some of the services like these service bureaus. And that's something we hope to do in really every podcast episode, is to have an interview of someone in the industry either using 3D printing or somebody supplying 3D printers or materials.
And we're also going to have some product reviews, of course. But we just want to kind of mention our guidelines for that. So it's on our website, and you can go to housedesign.com, and you can go to the 3D printing tab and go to about
if you want us to review your product or your material or service, you need to send it to us. And there are criteria to do that, or, well, you actually have to apply, don't you?
Yeah, send us an application for it, because I don't want to just get innovative product that we're never going to try, or that have no application to our audience here, and, our listeners, you guys. So we want to make sure that this stuff is interesting to you, and if we're not interested in it, then we're just going to say no. So we just want to be innovative stuff. But secondly, we only want things that we can return, because we're not taking free product for a review. We're not going to be bought here. We want to make sure that it's something that we are interested in. If we want it, we will buy it.
Sure. I mean, we want our reviews to have integrity. We're going to give you our honest opinion about it. And even if it's not a good fit for us, it may be a great fit for other types of users in the industry, and that's fine. But if it's for some reason a product you don't want returned to you, we'd be happy to donate it to a local design school or other educational institution that could use it, and you could take a tax deduction on it.
Right, and if you're a listener and you're not a product maker, but you're a listener out there who wants us to review something you've been considering using and haven't used yet, send us a comment. Put a comment in our podcast notes, and also you can do it on YouTube as well. And just ask us there to review something. We've had a few questions and things that have come up over time, especially about films and things. So those are definitely things we're experimenting and trying out, and we'll be reviewing those as things go as well. So anyway, go to our website and howstudesign.com and check out the product review guidelines and submit some things or submit your questions.
As this podcast grows, obviously that'll be a great resource for you, the listener or the viewer of the videocast, to go to our website and see reviews over time.
And we'll do our best to make sure that there's visuals, because obviously the podcast you're listening about this, but we want to make sure that there's visuals for you as well. So if you want to see the results of how a filament printed, and maybe it printed very dummy and over extruding, you can see what that looks like. So actually it's also a resource. So if you're printing and you have this, you can kind of look through our images and go, oh, that's what mine looks like. This is my problem.
Right.
And so hopefully we'll have some solutions for you as well.
And I'd also like to mention another sort of sub podcast of ours, because you're mentioning if you have questions and
This
things.
podcast is coming to you every Thursday. So Thursday mornings it goes out, and we're going to commit to doing it as many times as we can, and hopefully we'll be able to keep going for quite some time, because I can't say that we've learned enough about 3D printing yet. So there's always more to learn, and there's always stuff changing.
Absolutely.
So,
While I think we have a lot of knowledge to share, and we have become experts in 3D printing to a level, there's no amount of learning yet that isn't still going to happen.
So take the journey with us. But we also, as Tom was about to mention, that we have another segment that runs Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and that's our Ask Us segment, and you can go into the sort of same section on our website, the Ask Us page on howstudesign.com, and halfway down the page there's a speak pipe button that lets you leave us a voice message. You can leave us a voice message with a question, you can leave a recommendation for something you want us to review.
Really, it's just a way for you to communicate directly with us. You can do it anonymously if you want, so you don't have to give us your email address, but if you want us to communicate back with you, leave a little more contact information so we can do that.
Yeah, and you're welcome to mention your website, or your artist profile in a specific shop somewhere. If you have an Etsy shop or a Shapeways shop or something like that, go ahead and mention that. And your name and where you're from, because we're hoping that, because the speak pipe can work at any time of day, so we're hoping that we get this from around the world. But anyway, we're going to play your segment likely on the air, so keep it clean, please.
Well, obviously we reserve the right for which ones we're going to air, but you could easily end up in a podcast with an appropriate, relevant question or suggestion.
So anyway, that's going to happen on the other 4 days of the week. So you'll have it'll be a quick segment, 5 to 7 minutes or 5 to 8 minutes, something like that, and you can skip over and just get the questions you want answered at any given time. So we're hoping that will be a nice ongoing long resource for people to just go jump to something that they're having a problem with right now, or something that they need an answer to.
That's right.
The other thing is that we talked about a little bit vocabulary.
So I think that's really important. I think that most desktop 3D printing has been done by really highly technical computer techie people, hackers of a sort.
That's really how we got it to be in the desktop thing. So it's great that that's happened, but it's not necessarily the language of product, the language of business, the language of design. So we're going to hopefully help to reset that, or help you understand the correlation between the two parts. And then the other side of that also, though, is we probably should define why we call it FFF.
Oh, let's try that
Filament
again.
fabrication.
Many of you may know that, but just for those of you that may not, modern desktop 3D printing, one of the most widely used forms of that is fused filament fabrication, and that's where the FFF comes from. It also is sometimes called FDM, which is, what is FDM acronym again? Fused deposition modeling, or something like that. And so anyway, that's really the primary focus of this podcast.
Many of you out there might be using SLA, which,
For resin
or
printers.
other types of 3D printing, and it's not that there will still be applicable things that we're talking about, but
And we will touch on them as, things are newsworthy, new things come out, and especially as they compare to FFF. But for us, what we found is FFF is the most applicable kind of 3D
because we
printing.
really want to focus on the kinds of things that you can only 3D print, that you can't do in any other manufacturing technology, that you are able to take that product off the machine, and with very little removal of things or cleanup, it's ready to sell.
Or use. Absolutely. That's the thing. As a home office environment, we don't want to use a lot of different chemicals and machines that create a lot of dust or have to spray paint things, So having parts that come off the printer and are ready to use is very important to us, and so the FFF printers are really most suitable for that.
Absolutely. So anyway, we want to see what you guys want. So as our listeners, help us help you. Please, go to the speak pipe, leave us voice messages, leave us comments, leave us reviews on iTunes, please.
Absolutely.
Yes, that's the best way to keep us going here, is to leave us reviews on iTunes. Also, we're Twitter, Facebook, everywhere else you can imagine. It's always at House Design everywhere.
And it's HAZZ.
HAZZ, yes, the two Z's. HAZZ Design, all one word.
So we're looking forward to spending a lot more time talking about the subjects you want to hear and helping further 3D printing in design and manufacturing.
And keep in touch with us, because that's the best way for us to make this what you guys want it to be.
Until next time, this is Tom.
And this is Tracy.
And this has been the WTFFF 3D Printing Podcast.
Our first podcast.